Hi everybody, my name is Julie Flores and I am the creator of the Quantum Feather, and I also go by the Quantum Priestess on Instagram. This is a new segment of what I do and I wanted to share it with you, and it also is a way to tell stories about our past and where we came from so we understand what's going on in our world today. So welcome, and the name of this new segment that I'm going to add to my channel is called the Ephemera Chronicles. Now, those of you who know me know that I make journals, and you can even call them junk journals, and some people would argue with that, but that's not what I'm here about. I was working as a nurse for a long time, and I needed something creative to, I walked away in 2018, and I wanted to start, find a way to make money, but to do something that I love. So art was a healing place for me to go and something I felt comfortable with. So I was listening, I was on YouTube, and I stumbled upon these beautiful women making what they call junk journals. And I was totally fell in love with it because it was something that I had access to at home and I was able to start. And since then, I have been able to share my journals with people who have come to treasure them and love them as much as I do. A blank journal that you write in is a very healing tool. It helps heal the psyche, and it helps bring those traumas and ideas and ways to heal onto the page. But in a junk journal, not only are there places to write and journal, but you are walked through a beautiful, illustrated journey that will stimulate the mind. A lot of these journals are made of old laces, old materials, old books, old things. So I guess in order for you to understand the purpose of my channel, we need to understand the definition of ephemera. So ephemera is an item that was created in the past that was meant to be temporary. It wasn't meant to be used in a permanent way. So like tickets, if you got train tickets, if you went to a concert, a show, you would get a ticket, and that ticket will be called an ephemera. Another example is letters. We used to handwrite letters, and those envelopes and letters are really treasured by junk journalists because they share a piece of our history and the past in someone's life that will shed light on who they were and what was going on in their life. But it also tells a story about an era. So I am going to share a piece of ephemera with you on each of these shows, and we're going to do a little historical walkthrough of what it is. And you would be so surprised how much information and history can be derived just on one piece of ephemera. So I'd like to welcome everybody. Welcome to the Ephemera Chronicles. And this is my first video, so bear with me. I do plan on using a video program in the future to help bring dramatic music and different things. But today it's just me and you, and I'm going to show you the things that I have. So I'm going to turn the camera view onto my table here. And this is the table that I create. This is in my art room. And some examples of the ephemera we talked about, like these are old postcards, these old beautiful postcards, piece of history. These They started to fill these in with color later on. Some of the black and white ones, like this one. Like, they were originally black and white, but then they colorized them. And these are good examples of an ephemera. This is a birth announcement of a child. And that's a piece of ephemera from a church. And here's another. This is a souvenir book from Rome, and it's full of pictures from that vacation. Well, from, pictures of the different beautiful artworks in Rome. And I want to give a thank you to these two beautiful women I met. And the name of their store is called Crazy Junk Rescue. They live in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And I met them at a vendor show because I make soap, I make journals and different things, and I sell things. So I met them there, and their names are Linda and Kelly. I'm not going to use their last names because I didn't even tell them I was going to do this, but they have been such a big source of some of the ephemera that I have because Linda, she would do estate sales, and she was also, she likes to refurbish and redo furniture and make things out of old things as well. And recently I purchased, this is just one stack of postcards. They gave me such a great deal. These are old. A lot of these postcards are foreign. They're from different countries. And if y'all can see it, hold on. This is the box of postcards that I recently got from them. And I'm going to enjoy putting them in my journals. And I like that they are the originals. A lot of times you find in journals digital art or scanned art, and there's nothing wrong with that. I make a lot of my journals with that. But then the person creating the journal will tuck in a piece of original things like a letter or a postcard and tickets and receipts, and that's just for the journal to have a story, to tell the story that they're trying to convey. So today, we're going to talk about this piece of ephemera right here. Hold on, let me get it in the frame. And what has inspired me to want to talk about this particular piece is I've seen a lot of Mother Mary and Madonna prayer cards, and I have never seen this before. And I thought she was beautiful. I noticed she had black hair, and I wanted to learn more about her. And on the back of the card is a prayer. And I'm going to say, I'm not Spanish by all means, but La Diosa del Mar is what this is called, what she is called. And we're going to tell her story today. And I hope that this will help people to understand how a piece of history ephemera caught in a photo or a card can express a story and help share what it's about. So let's talk about her today. I'm going to put her back this way so I can see her. Now, this is a Spanish goddess, and she's the goddess of the moon, and she's considered the goddess of the water and the goddess of fertility. And I'm going to share with you at the end of the story something that I'm making out of this so you can see, because I want to share my journey too with it. But you can see that she's sprinkling stars into the water, down into the water, falling from her hands. And there's a star above her head, And in some photos, there's a moon above her head. And there's white roses floating in the water. And I just thought this card was beautiful. Now, when I started to do the historical background about her, I wanted to see, okay, who is she and what is she about? So I found all this information on the goddess. And as you know, there are many goddesses. So if I have omitted one, I'm sorry, but this is just my story, so we're gonna take my path. So I'm gonna set her over here. And as I was finding information about her, she has different names. And it really surprised me how many names she has. And I want to show you this picture. And I don't want people get that idea of evil, demonic, religious, just move it aside, okay? And let me tell my story. So in this picture, she's called Tiamat. And any person who has studied the Anunnaki history will be very familiar with the Tiamat stories. And I'm not going to go into all that here. That is for you to grab onto and go find it yourself. Now, in that story, Tiamat is, she's described as a planet. And there was a war. And she was destroyed in that war. And she was severed into different pieces. And a piece of what was left of her created the earth. So that is the story. Now, this picture here, she's portrayed as a demoness with wings. Some people call her the Black Dragon. But she has many names. So the Tiamat name here, this is the Mesopotamian goddess of creation, primordial chaos. And what I want people to understand about the goddess is that feminine energy is negative. And we have been programmed to think that's a bad thing, that all negative things are bad. And we live in a duality of good and evil. We live in a duality of black and white, of positive and negative. Now that positive and negative makes us who we are. We would not exist here if it wasn't for those two primordial energies coming together. And when you read the Genesis story of creation, and you hear about the void was without form, and how God spoke things into existence, and he separated the waters, and is telling a story about this goddess. This goddess is more than a human. This goddess is more than a dragon, a demoness. This goddess is an energy. And the way for people to understand her energy has been encapsulated into pictures of different goddesses, into pictures of different energies. That's why I became so passionate about this, because this picture of this goddess here, the Spanish goddess of the waters, of fertility and creation, is the same goddess here, portrayed as Tiamat, the dark mother, the dragon. And I'm going to interject a little. I meditate a lot, and I'm able to tap into some of my past lives. And I know I had a past life in Lemuria. And in Lemuria, in our temples, we had healing, different modalities of healing. And as I was going through each of the levels of healing, I came upon a black dragon underground in a cave. And she was imprisoned there. And the energy that I felt was connected with her in today's society would be Princess Diana. And I thought that was pretty special, because Princess Diana, she invokes that female energy of healing, and motherhood. So each woman born upon this earth carries with us, and males, okay, I don't want to leave males out, because males carry this feminine energy as well. And in order to understand it, we need to understand the images that portray the power of what they are. So let me move on with this. Okay, so this is Tiamat, the Mesopotamian goddess. Then my journey led me to Japan. And I hope y'all can see this picture. I wanted to put it in a slideshow, but I am not set up to do slideshows. Let me see if I can raise it and see if y'all can see it. She's got her tongue sticking out, and she's trying to catch raindrops with her tongue. Her name is Amunonna, Ameonna. She is also called the Black Dragon in Japan. And the stories about her are a little more negative too. They said that, she would make it rain on certain occasions or bring bad luck to certain things. But once again, we're dealing with that negative energy of creation. That's there because nothing could be created without it. Then my journey led me to Rome. And it led me to the goddess Thetis. I hope I'm saying her name right, probably not. Or Thetis. You might have heard her as Thetis. Or Thetis. And she's a goddess of Rome. And I want you to notice that in the depictions, we have been told that these things are from the imagination of people. And these are powerful energies that invoked emotions and evoked creativity in people to want to put it and depict it on artwork. These are real energies, but they're being depicted in a way that the artist was able to do it. And I think in each generation, there's a female upon this planet who carries that energy. And as we travel through these different countries and areas, I think their goddesses were people who, or beings who represented that energy in the highest form for that culture. And this is the Rome, an depiction of her in Rome. And she's got snakes around by her heels. And there's a male there. And look how much bigger she is than the male here. So let's move on. I live in New Orleans, so I'm familiar with this depiction of her, but I'm probably going to say her name wrong. But Yemaya, and she is worshipped in the Santeria. Hold on, I had some more information on her. Let me pull my notes up. So Nigeria also worship her. She comes from the you know what, in a lot of stories, what I didn't like is they would say that, these goddesses and gods came from slaves. And the slaves brought this information to this place, which is probably true. But if that religion or worship was able to bloom in an area, I promise you, it wasn't just the slaves who were worshiping them. Slaves had no rights. So she is the goddess of fertility and protection. So also, look at her. She's got the same stars falling from her hand, just like in this depiction of the Spanish goddess, La Diosa del Mar. She's got the moon over her head. She's the moon goddess as well. So is Tiamat, and so is Thetis. All of these goddesses, the same emblems, the same things associated with them are exactly the same. These are the same goddesses. This is that dark goddess female energy. And she has a veil over her eyes. So we see who we see with the veil over their eyes, represented, in our legal system. And that is justice. She is everywhere, and people just don't have the eyes to see where she is. She's a part of our lives, just as much as the male representative of God on the earth. Okay, the next picture, this gets really interesting now. I love doing the research on this. In Egypt, we're going to talk about this goddess here. And let's start with this picture first. Her name, she was called Diosa or Atar goddess. Now, when I saw that word Atar goddess, it reminded me of Atlantis. That's the first feeling I got when I read that. And I know Atlantis, they worship their own gods and goddesses, and I feel like she was a big part of that. But she's also a Syrian mermaid goddess. So here we're going back to water. We're going back to fertility. Look at her body, y'all. She has a fish body, a mermaid body. And let me show you this other. Where have you seen this picture before? I hope you can see it okay. She has that divided right here. The tail is divided. The fish tail is divided. You see her every day at Starbucks when you go to get your Starbucks. This is her. And when I did the search for her and her name came up, Target also came up with her. Target, because of her name. Atar, goddess. And so the corporations weave in this energy into the things they create because they know this is how they're going to get people to lend their energy to it. I promise you, it's not only her energy in that Target emblem. You also have sun energy in that circle with the dot in the middle. And those two energies, male and female, brings prosperity to the company Target because they created a logo that draws in that energy. You will see logos everywhere utilizing different energies. And that's a good example of a male and female one. So as we continue on our journey with the goddess, the mother goddess of water, of creation, of fertility, of the moon, this is the Greek depiction of her. Thalasia is what she's called. Now, this picture intrigued me. This is a real mural. This isn't a digital made. I tried all the pictures I pulled up. I tried to pull up actual artwork that was created, on the walls or in statues and things like that. So she has this upside down world above her, and then she has this other world underneath her. And I'm like, what is this picture telling us? On this side, the men are fishing and, in the boat. I don't know how well you can see it, and when you flip it over this way, she has these young males riding on these, I don't know what they are. They look like whales because she's the goddess of whales as well. They look like little whales. So I'm sure there's other symbols in here that I'm missing. And if y'all want to add a comment and tell me what y'all think, and no negative religious comments, please. Not on my channel. We're about learning about truth here, not about perpetuating ideation about religion that you believe. But you can share, like if there's something you want to share about it in a respectful way, I'm totally would support that. Now here she is again, an Inca, and her name was Mama Cocha. And Mama Cocha was a fertility goddess. And look, she's in gold here. They made a gold idol statue with her. And Mama Cocha was worshipped in Inca. I'm sorry. I'm trying to see if I have any more information on her. Yeah, she's a moon goddess as well. And she also goes by Mama Quilla. So this is Mama Cocha, fertility moon goddess and Inca. Okay, let's see. Next. Then I found that, I'm sorry, knocked it over. I need a better setup, y'all. Then I found this picture. And this is Greek. And there she is with the male. And they said she was the wife of Poseidon as well. But during the Greek period, her energy became known as the water nymphs. You know, like the mermaid energy. It's the same thing. It's just, I noticed that in each era, her power was downgraded and splintered off. The Nereides in Greek. And hold on, I had some information written about that too. Let me see. I'm gonna set this here for a minute, and I hope my thing don't fall. I'm gonna hang on to it. Now, when we talk about water nymphs and mermaids and stuff, a lot of people think that's mythology as well. But what they're really proving now is that mythology was real. It wasn't fake make-believe. My cat's meowing. She's not coming in right now. She's gonna wait. Also, she can manipulate and control water and protect seafarers and seamen. My cat she's by my window meowing to come in. But we'll get her after. Okay, so as I'm finishing up this presentation on my ephemera, my Spanish goddess of the moon, fertility and water, protector of seafarers and seamen. And you know what's funny? If you hear the word seaman, tell me what you think. That's definitely associated with fertility. Protector of seamen. A lot of the language is there. We just don't have the ears to hear what it is. Okay, we spoke about Titus earlier, and this is a statue of her and her son. Now, in some of the other representations, it's Achilles. I think in the Greek representation is the sun. But this statue really, it moved me. As soon as I saw it, I go, you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of this statue. Statue of the Madonna by Michelangelo. And her son, Jesus. Some people say it is John the Baptist. So it depends on the story, and I think there's some secrets there that we don't know, but I will leave that for someone else to figure out. So we get down to the Madonna. Today, I didn't pull a picture of the Madonna, but I actually have some cards of her. My mother-in-law sent me She sent me a prayer and sent it to me for her to be one of my protectors. And she is called the Lady of Guadalupe, also a Spanish goddess of fertility, protection, of childbirth and water. Now, as I close out this presentation, I want to say some other names for her, and I didn't show the depictions of her, because we're familiar. Inanna was another name for her. Astarte, Ishtar. Let's see if there were some other names. I'm sure Isis. So when you hear about all these goddesses, and it makes you wonder, what is going on here? It's the story of the same thing. She is the story of the dark mother. The mother energy with the negative polarity. It's her story. And when you hear the moon, there's also a goddess of the moon. I think it's Sumerian, called Sin. And they talk about, how we all have sinned, and sin is related to the moon goddess. So I think they continue to deteriorate her power in religion. Don't you ever wonder why the female is not represented in a feminine body? The Holy Spirit is there. You got Father, Son, Holy Spirit. What? That Holy Spirit is this mother energy. It's that dark, negative, feminine energy. And if you were going to be able to tolerate what's happening in our society now, you need to understand why they are really trying to confuse us about this energy. They don't want her power back. But I have news for them. She's returning that power. When I say she, I mean her energy as the goddess. And all of these pictures that I showed you, she's returning. That feminine healing energy. And I'm going to explain how she acts with the male energy, the positive energy. The positive energy of the masculine is symbolized by the sun. That sun energy. The light. Jesus was the light. Those two energies, the dark and the light, create everything in our world. And we have been at war. We have let all kind of things, atrocious things happen in the name of men, in the name of winning, of victory, of, all of those things, of power. We let those things overtake our society because we have been in that energy of the masculine for a long time. But we're moving into the age of Aquarius. What does Aquarius represent? Water. Who represents water and fertility? The goddess. The mother goddess. That's why when they say she's returning, that energy is returning back to us. The earth is starting to heal. This is the time that all of our trauma and pain is surfacing to be healed, because this energy is here to heal it. And one last thing I want to say. So the dark cabal, and I'm just going to say this at the end. They have been using the dark goddess energy for a long time, and I told you how Target used it in their logo. But they also have a female representative on Earth. They always have been a female representative on Earth to represent the feminine. And in the past, guess who it's been? it's been Madonna. And you know what? I didn't print a picture of Madonna, but everybody knows who Madonna is, the singer. And just to let that hit home, I'm going to tell y'all the name of some of the names of her albums. The Immaculate Collection instead of Conception. Like a Virgin. Like a Prayer. Vision Quest. Ray of Light. True Blue, and Confessions on a Dance Floor. All of that energy that she put into her music, she channeled the energy of the goddess. It's shown in her music, it's shown in what she represents, and in the magic of the dark. They need a representation of that power on earth. And there is rumor that representation has changed, and I heard that it is Katy Perry now. And so they take the person who's representing these energies, and I'm sure there's a male as well represented, but that's another story. They need that, so when they're doing their own, creating their own magic, they use that for their magic ceremonies. But as I'm finishing up, I want to show you what I'm working on. And I told you I do journals, right? I also do other pieces of art. And this piece of art I'm doing to represent the goddess. Now, this is it looks more like Thalassia, the mermaid goddess, the Greek representation. The roses here is a representation of the feminine, the divine feminine. And this isn't finished, but I am going to, this is going to fall over. Hold on. See if I can open it. Okay. So there's her picture there. And then I put some other symbols of her is the seashell, the moon. I got pearls in there. I got the mermaids in there, with the octopus as well, which is a water deity or creature. And I'm creating this little altered tin to represent her. And it's not finished, but I'm working on it. And I just wanted to show it to you. And I will be doing a journal on the goddesses, but so for each of my shows, I want to show you something I'm creating to represent that piece of ephemera that I was lucky to get a hold of. Thank you to the Crazy Junk Rescue gals out here in Baton Rouge, Kelly, Linda, and Kelly. And this story and this creation right here was all inspired by this one piece of ephemera. So thank you for joining me today. And I do have another story. I have a bunch of more stories to tell. And I'm really excited about making this a part of what I do. Now, if you want to learn about junk journals, there's many, many beautiful, talented women who will be happy to show you how to make one, start one on YouTube. You just find them. Type in junk journals, type in ephemera, and you will learn more about it. So I wanted to do something different, and this is my contribution to the junk journal world, the world of storytelling, the world of history, and remembering who we are and who we were and where we're going. So everybody, I think that's it. Have a great day. And I will see you again soon on the Ephemera Chronicles. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.